Hey, everybody, welcome to Jen Lowry Writes. Today, we are in our Writing Warriors for Jesus Fall Conference, and I am so excited to share with you Marke Freeman. Guys, Marke Freeman is closing out the show for us. We've had a wonderful packed 2 days, and we have saved Marke for you to encourage and inspire you on your author walk. I got to tell you a little bit more about Marke. Marke Freeman is a retired professional basketball player, CEO of Max Out Foundation, renowned speaker, sports analyst, and a newly acclaimed author. Marke serves business entities, leaders, students, and athletes globally, instilling the mental foundations for success while providing the actionable methods that will enable them to evolve through leadership, mindset, and habit transformation. Marke introduces undeniable principles that world-class athletes use to perform at a championship level, which can be utilized in businesses to build and sustain a winning culture and in life to discover your inner champion. Raised in a single-parent home, Marke has faced many forms of adversity, making them the acme of her testimony. Her story is one of commitment, accountability, perseverance, and evolution, which she refers to as CAPE, because this approach saved her life. Her story is proof that success is about combating victimization, and you can see that in her recent book, Champion's Creed. Author Marke Freeman will take you on a journey to discover your champion within. She provides unpopular, unknown strategies that separate the good from the great. With authentic, result-proven knowledge, Marke shares and unpacks the 9 essential characteristics needed to excel. Through her prolific storytelling, she connects her personal stories and the stories of other world-class beings who have also chosen to attain greatness utilizing these principles. Champion's Creed will educate, equip, and empower you to progress to unforeseen levels of success. And we are so happy to have you here, Marke.
Oh man, I am so excited to be here. And I'm gonna tell you, Jen, I'm gonna have to write you a check after that introduction.
Hey, it's all you and the fabulous work that you're doing. And I am going to drop down at the bottom and just let you take over the show.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, gosh, people, I am so excited to be here. And so before we get started, I would just like to say thank you. Thank you for allowing me to just share on this beautiful platform, the beautiful things that have been shared over the last couple of days. And I think we all can agree how much of a light Jen is. And I've had the pleasure of experiencing her light over the last few months. And it's really poured into me. And I remember our first introduction, we were both a part of another experience. And I just felt like immediately she just lit me up and our spirits aligned. And I would like to say that I've been blessed with this gift of discernment, and definitely caught on to her energy wave, her high frequency. And it has been a high very much since that. So Jen, thank you so much for having me and thinking enough of me to give me this opportunity. And I'm excited to share with you guys today. I know she shared a few of the things that I do or I have done. But one thing that I am truly proud of is being a woman of God. Giving my life to God was the best decision that I've ever made. And it truly changed the trajectory of my life, and has really fanned the fire of many of the things that I've been able to accomplish. So besides all the basketball and all of those other things, I'm very excited to be here today and share. The topic that I'm going to be sharing today is the powers of authorship. So many amazing authors are tuning in, aspiring authors, people who are exploring the idea of authorship. And one thing that I think is extremely important is for us to know the powers of authorship. And one thing that my mother always told me as I was coming up, and I would dabble in different things and I'd show potential in different things, she would remind me of Luke 12:48, which for everyone who has been giving much shall be required. And we all have a very special gift if we have the opportunity to write a book and share something with the world. And this is something that can't be taken for granted. And this is also something that must be maximized. And one thing that I've learned on my journey, on this journey of authorship, is that there is so much that we can accomplish through this, but even more important, there are so many people that we can touch and impact along that journey. And that's what I want to discuss the most. I can remember being a young lady when I first decided that I wanted to explore authorship. And I wasn't very sure that I had what it took to accomplish this very noble and prestigious and monstrous thing. And growing up, I always thought that authors were these very noble-minded individuals that sat at the top of this mountain. And if we were so lucky, every once in a while, if we were on our best behavior, they would sprinkle down some gems on us. Just very wise individuals that were constantly sharing, and they just lived this very unique lifestyle. And so to be one that has recently written my first book, Champion's Creed, and to learn so much about myself, learn so much about the process on this journey, I'm excited to share those experiences with you guys. So the first thing I want to say about authorship is that it's a great opportunity to influence. I talk about this in Champion's Creed. Influence is the greatest power any human being could ever have. I mean, think about it. You have the power to influence the direction of an individual or a group. You get to determine how successful they are. You can also determine how unsuccessful they are when our power or that influence is not used in the best way. And so as leaders, as influencers, as individuals who are said to be people with good information, to be people of insight, it is important for us to use that in the absolute best way. And this puts me in the minds of just great people who are educators, who are ministers. They're trusted with this information. They're trusted to inform others. And so there's a great responsibility that comes with that. And I personally for me, I believe that authorship is lit. How many of you guys are familiar with the term lit? And I'm going to have Jen jump in here. If you're familiar with the term lit, just go ahead and drop a couple of eyes in the live chat. If you are familiar with the term lit, L-I-T, a term the young people use today. I never thought I'd say that. But if you're familiar with that term, go ahead and drop an I in the group chat. Jen, did we get any eyes?
We did. Luke Seibert said, I am. I told him to drop the lit.
I love it. If you got a little flame emoji in there, go ahead and use that. Luke, I am with you. I am one of those individuals guilty of still trying to be cool as I age. I love that term. And what lit means to me, Luke, what lit means to me, it's an acronym that I've actually broken down. And the L is for legacy. And legacy is information that we leave for others, a blueprint, a template, something that we leave for others once we're gone. It could be our family. It could be our children. It could be people who follow us or believe in our vision. It can be others who have shared similar experiences and we connect in a very special way. It could also be those people who are just interested. Maybe our experiences or our writings attract them in some unique way. And so it's leaving that blueprint for others. The I in lit is for impact. Something that all authors have an opportunity to do is change how others view themselves, change how others view the world, change how people view their experiences. And then the T is for transformation. Transformation, meaning to shift the trajectory of an individual's life or an individual's mindset or an individual's habits to truly transform what they may become in the end. And to have that opportunity with something as simple as a pen and paper, with that opportunity comes great responsibility. And that leads me to this awesome quote that you guys see here on the screen: a single spark can start a movement. And my grandmother would always say, a single ripple can create a wave of change in the world, in our communities, in our circles, in our society as it is today. And I came across this scripture, which I think is so relevant. 2 Timothy 1:6, it says, "This is why I remind you to fan into the flames the spiritual gift God gave you when I laid my hands on you." Gifts that we all must maximize. And to maximize them, we must really know how powerful they are. And so that leads me to my next slide. It's so important for us to be authentic. What does it mean to be authentic? It means to be who we were designed to be. It's kind of sad in the world today. So many people are spending so much time trying to fit in when we were all created to stand out. I think of people who are trying to be like others. And I think that's one of the first steps towards mediocrity, is to compare ourselves to the majority. And so it's important to be ourselves, we are designed to be. And what is authenticity? I think is kind of captured here in a very great way. It's being real, it's being genuine, it's being true, it's being vulnerable, which we're going to talk about here shortly, having some integrity, being trustworthy with the powers that we have been given, and transparent, and so on. And I think today's authenticity is credibility. Think about it. Gone are the days where suit and ties give you credibility. And this is not knocking anyone who decides to put on a suit and tie. We appreciate you taking a little extra time to get dressed up and taking pride in your appearance. This is no shade at all. But gone are those days where suit and ties or suit and lies are considered credible. Gone are those days. Credibility is the individual who's vulnerable, the person who's transparent, the person who is real, the person who is genuine. Gone are those days where that phony, too polished, over rehearsed look, appearance is the real thing. Gone are those days. And so more important than anything is it for us to be authentic, because that allows us to connect on a deeper level. I mean, think about it. Think about it. Even for some of us, me just using the term lit, that created some looseness, and it tore down this barrier. It destroyed this barrier that allowed us to connect on a deeper level. I imagine some shoulders dropped a bit. There was a sigh of relief. Some people could sit back a little bit and be themselves. And that's what we need to bring to our writing, to our content, whether we're writing books or memoirs or articles or blogs, whatever it is, we need to bring that authentic component to our writing. And I think for me personally, as an author, just sharing a bit about my journey, I got caught up in what experts are supposed to be. Experts are not perfect. And that's what I initially thought. I thought experts were supposed to know everything. Experts were supposed to be perfect and flawless in every single way. And that couldn't be any further from the truth. To be an expert, you have to have experiences, and that's it, good and bad. So regardless of whether or not you're speaking from a point of personal experience or speaking on something that you've studied, regardless of what it is or what perspective you're speaking from as you write, it is very important for you to be true, genuine, and real as you write. I can remember also just reflecting on, something as simple as a biblical story. Think about the people God used in the Bible when he wrote his story. They weren't perfect. Many of them were often flawed. And he used those stories and those experiences as testimonies, all right, to empower, to educate, and equip, which I'm getting excited to talk about even more. Gosh, my blood is flowing. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. But let's get going. And in order to be truly authentic and to be yourself, that is the only way that you can truly maximize the power of story. So many things can be said about this slide. So many different stories here. So many different voices here. And when I reflect back on this and all the many stories that are used in the Bible, they're used to typically do three things. Always, when I reflect on every Bible that I've heard or read about throughout my journey as a Christian, These 3 E's come to mind. It's educate, equip, and empower. Every story either does one of those 3 E's, if not all of them. It educates, equips, and empowers. What is your story? What is it that you're dying to share with the world? What is it that you're passionate about? What is it that the world needs to hear? What is it that your targeted audience needs to hear, need to receive from you? Here's the thing. Someone is waiting to hear it from you. Someone is waiting to hear it in just the way that you are going to say it. I can remember when I first wrote Champions Creed and being vulnerable for the very first time, I brought to light some things that had come from my darkest places. And I gave this book to my beta readers before I actually put it out there on the shelves. And there were people that were close to me, and there were also people who were distant strangers. And I shared everything in that book that I felt I wanted to share for Champions Creed. And I was afraid of how it would be received. I was afraid of how I would be judged. I was afraid of how people would think of me knowing something that I hadn't shared with many, if any, people at all. And when I tell you the feedback I received when they came back to me after reading Champions Creed, just that first draft, the feedback I received and the people who came back so inspired, people who came back with tears in their eyes saying, I didn't know that happened to you. Thank you for helping me make sense of what took place in my life. Thank you for helping me make sense of what happened to my daughter. Thank you for sharing this. And it's not always the situation or the story that's shared, but many times it's the emotion that's evoked from that story that they can connect to. And that is where transformation and impact takes place. And so as many people think that this journey of authorship, it can be too much, it's a lot, but it is very, very lit and an amazing opportunity for us to leave legacy, leave a blueprint for others to impact, but also to transform many, many lives. So if I could leave anything with you guys, the next thing that I would love to say is just be yourself. Just be yourself, be who you are designed to be, and understand how that truly empowers your story as much as it can possibly be empowered. And so right now, here's what I would love for you guys to do. Take a look at this picture here. In a second, and when you're ready, I want you guys to drop into the live chat what it is that you see when you look at this photo. There's no right or wrong answer. I'll go ahead and say that. This is not one of those situations where if you see people, then you're left brained. And if you see something different, it's not a trick question by any means. I would just love to know what you guys see when you look at this picture. And Jen, when we get a few people commenting in the chat, if you're willing to share, that would be great.
We got diversity. We got God's kingdom.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so let's describe the picture a little bit for Luke and Ann, who are in our group that are blind and are in attendance now. So I wrote up at the top that this picture shows many different people. Mm-hmm. And it shows that people may have different cultures, different backgrounds. There's someone that's in a wheelchair. There's someone that is they're in business suits. They're smiling. Each person seems as if they are engaged and turning to one another. And we're having
I couldn't agree more. I think that's a great example or description of what's taking place here. Everything that was shared, I would totally agree. Different people from different backgrounds, different experiences, also different ages, different genders, nationalities. And if I could add anything to many of the things that were shared, Jen, another thing that I would add is different voices.
Yes. We have so many good ones in the chat. I see every tongue, tribe, language, and nation.
I love it.
I see inclusion and diversity. I see professional. I see networking. I see differences don't have to divide. I see
Mhm.
equality, diversity, and the power of connections.
Oh, that's outstanding.
Yes,
I love it.
lovely.
I love it. I also see joy. Someone already said diversity. I see distinct voices, unique voices, different stories. And this is a great power of authorship. I think the biggest mistake I made as an author was not being sure what I should sound like. And personally, I gave that far too much thought. I call myself an avid reader. I have a number of authors that I truly enjoy because of how like-minded we are. I also appreciate reading things that challenge my way of thinking and challenge me to get outside of my norm or outside of my comfort zone. And what I failed to recognize immediately was that the reason I appreciate those authors the most was for their authenticity, for their distinct voices. And what this picture says to me is just how important it is to have representation, how important it is to maximize our distinct voices. And what a distinct voice is to me, it's a unique language. Think about it. Many of the people on this call speak English, I'm sure. And there may be some people on this call who speak other languages as well, whether it's Spanish or French or other languages. But here's the thing about our distinct voice. Our distinct voice is a culmination of our passion and our experiences and our beliefs. And when we take all of those and we combine them and we speak from a place that no one else can speak from, that allows us to speak in a way that only the targeted group, the group we were designed to connect with, can understand. Only. And maybe not only those individuals, but also some others, but specifically that group that is waiting to hear our voices, what it is that we have to share, our relationship with God, some of the experiences that we've had, what we've overcome, what we're having challenges with, our truth, speaking from their perspective or our perspective, allowing them to hear it in our unique way. And that mistake I made of trying to sound like others, it came with a comparison of what I thought I was supposed to sound like, when I later found out that I just needed to stay true to who I was and speak in my distinct voice. There was someone who needed to hear it my way, coming from my voice, my experiences, my passions, and my beliefs. And so again, if I could say anything to anyone on this call, it's know the power of your distinct voice. You were not put here to sound like anyone else. What God has put on your heart, what God has led you to share, what God has led you to create, that is for you and those within your reach. And understand the true power in that. And that is what allows us to educate, equip, and empower our targeted audience. Oh my goodness, I'm getting so excited, guys. I'm getting so excited. So next I want to talk about success versus significance. There is a great difference. And I want to start off with a scripture, if you guys don't mind. It's Philippians 2, 3, and 4. Let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit, but in the lowliness of mind, let each esteem others better than himself. Let each of you look out not only for his own interests, but also for the interests of others. Again, that's Philippians 2, 3, and 4. What is success? Personally, I believe that success is transactional. It's result driven. And to simplify it, I believe that significance is impact driven. It's transformational. Transactional versus transformational. In order to truly maximize our powers as authors, we have to understand the power in transformation. We have to understand the power in our voices. We have to understand that it's a lot less about us. It's about our purpose. It's about who it is, an audience of people that we are blessed with the opportunity to serve. And so taking pride in that and embracing that before all else sells, before all else all else fails. And I think for so many, there is a desire to sell 1,000,000 books when God's plan may be for us to write this book for a very specific group. And maybe there's just a small number of people who need to have that book, and their impact could be just as great as yours. And that's something that will grow and live on far after us, much like the legacy we discussed in previous slides. And so understand that significance over success, that is what truly allows us to maximize our authorship. And so before we go on, I want you guys to take a look at this picture that I'm going to share with you guys. Just kind of take it in. And Jen, if you want to jump on and describe it for Luke as well, I think that would be awesome. Here's the picture here.
So there is a child, and you can tell that he is emancipated. He is, seems like he's in severe hunger, and he's really young, and he's laying face down. And we can see that there is like a vulture that is close by this child. So it is a very heartbreaking picture. Or that is my emotion around this picture.
Yes, well said, Jen. Another thing that I would add is that based on this photo, this child appears to be alone. There's not another individual in sight, in a bush area. And as you guys take this photo in, I'm just going to add a bit more context for you all. This photo was taken by Kevin Carter. This photo actually won the Pulitzer Prize. Just a little bit about Kevin Carter. Kevin Carter is a well-known photographer. He is probably far too familiar with the stench of death. He was a part of a group of elite photographers that went out and captured the apartheid in South Africa. So he's experienced violence, he's experienced death, he's experienced sickness as well. In 1993, him and his crew went out to the Sudan. And long story short, they were covering the famine that had struck the land in that area. And he had just spent a long day in a village capturing many of the things that were going on. And he decided to go out into the bush to capture a bit more before he headed back in for the evening. While he was out in the bush, he heard whimpering, and he came across this emaciated toddler. And while taking photos, a very healthy looking vulture, as pictured here, landed just behind the child. Now, prior to Kevin making it to the Sudan, he was told that he could not touch anyone or change the circumstances. One, because of the disease that had also struck the land, and two, just for his safety as well as the safety of everyone that was traveling with them. And so he's taking this picture. And he's a photographer, and his dream, the dream of all photographers, is to get a Pulitzer Prize. That is the award of all awards. That's the highest award that you can get in his space and his expertise. And so he's capturing this picture, and he was there for about 20 minutes waiting for this vulture that you see to spread its wings so he could get this picture that he knew would get a ton of credit. He came back home, and the New York Times ran this photo. And that's when, just months later, he was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for this photo. The moment it was run, people from all over the world were outraged and just truly upset, because they were worried about the well-being of this toddler. They wanted to know what happened to this child. They wanted to know if Kevin did anything about it. 4 months after winning the most prestigious award he could have won in his career, in his life, achieving a goal that he has always aspired, always fought for. I mean, he put so much into his craft. Kevin took his own life. And his words were, I am still haunted by the death and the sickness that I have seen that has plagued many lands. It's also plagued my mind. People couldn't believe it after receiving such a huge award. How could he take his life? This is the win upon all wins. This is success defined, right? As I share that story, here's something I want you guys to take from this, which really helped put things in perspective for me. Even though he reached what most would call success, he still was not happy with the amount of significance, with the significance that he was giving to the world. Just months after. So my question for you, and this is more of a rhetorical question. If this were you, if you were in that situation, you had the opportunity to serve or the opportunity to take this photo for recognition, who would you be? Now, answering that question, it's pretty simple, right? I would like to believe that the people who are within the sound of my voice would all say, yes, I would help this child. But if we were in that situation, would we really? And maybe this is an example that really puts it into perspective. But as we write our books, as we write these articles, whatever it is that we're put in a position to create, what significance are we leaving with our readers, our audience, with the world? Understanding that we can't take the Pulitzer Prize with us. We don't know the day or the hour, not to be morbid or dark by any means, but if we were to go today, we can't take anything with us, but what have we left for others? Have we truly maximized our calling? Have we really lived for significance, or are we living for self? And a very sad story, a very true story, but I think one that we can all learn from. There's no fulfillment in success. There's much more in significance. And something that I also want to add here. Significance is not determined by where you are right now. It's determined by how far you have come and those you help along the way, those you serve along the way. I'll read that again. Significance is not determined by where you are right now at this very moment. It's determined by how far you have come and those you support along the way. Your story, your experiences, your beliefs, your talents as a mind and as a writer has the ability to influence or direct an individual or a group for better or for worse. And I think it's a beautiful thing to be able to serve others. That's what we were created for. Ultimately, whether our talent is that of an author or that of a chauffeur, right? We were put here to serve, and taking great pride in that. And that gets me excited every single time to know that God has given me a gift, entrusted me to use it to influence and impact others, to leave something for those who, for whatever reason, follow me, to transform the lives of others. And that's just lit to me. And that gets me lit all over again. And having that opportunity to ignite the flames of others is a great responsibility. And before I go into those final powers, I do want to share my contact information here. just in case I could serve you guys in any way. Here you my email address as well as my social media and my website as well. If I can serve you in any way on your journey, I've been blessed with outstanding people on my journey. I would absolutely love to. If you know that I may be able to serve you and you don't give me that opportunity, shame on you. Okay? Shame on you. The power of authorship is the ability to influence, authenticity, story, our distinct voices, and last but certainly not least, significance. I want to thank each of you guys for giving me this opportunity to share. I truly pray that it adds value, and I pray that it benefits you on your journey and empowers you on your journey. I am excited to see the many jewels that you guys put out there into the universe. And I just want to remind you guys the power of your passion, and I look forward to seeing the fruits of your labor. Thank you guys for this amazing opportunity. Thank you.
Oh, Marky. So we got this is powerful. We got, of course, a powerful message. Yes, everyone is in agreement. Thank you so much for sharing just your passion, your purpose, a part of your testimony. Ruth said, wow, thank you so much. Such a sobering presentation. It was so great. Thank you so much, Marky. Everybody is flooding the chat right now. And we had a question too from Ruth. And she was like, what is Champions Creed about? She wanted you to go ahead and pitch that book and talk about how that came to be, how you took your life principles and put it into action. So that was a great question.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that question, Ruth. So Champions Creed is my first book. I'm excited to share that I'm also working on new projects as well. But it's the undeniable principles that separate the good from great in sports, business, and life. I have been very blessed and fortunate to play basketball at the highest level professionally. And I have learned a ton. And so this is me pretty much sharing the mindset and the habits necessary to achieve a rare level of success in all spaces, whether that's in sports, business, or life. And so this was the first book that God put on my heart to share my experiences, good and bad, with those who pick up this book. So it's a great read for anyone who is just looking to do more, to be more, to transform their habits and in return transform their lives. And so I had a number of people find it valuable, from athletes to people who work in the corporate space, to leaders, to influencers, to educators. And so, Ruth, I hope that this book serves you as well.
So I will say that your book does educate, equip, and empower. I love those 3 E's, those patterns that you saw through the biblical stories that you've read over time. And Ruth even said the comment about how God even used Ruth into Jesus's ancestry and a Gentile in that. Ruth said, that's amazing. Thanks for sharing. And she really likes your book cover too.
Well, thank you very much, Ruth. Thank you.
So tell us too about when all of that was happening. You kind of shared with us about your beta reader experience, and you started getting those floods of initial reactions in, and then it was becoming real for you, Marky, right?
Yes, it was. That's when it got really real. And for a really, really long time, I'll go ahead and share this. For a long time, I was embarrassed by what would soon become my testimony. I was embarrassed and ashamed of many of the things that I had experienced that were well beyond my control. Things that had happened in my childhood, things that had happened in my adult life, some of my personal experiences. And I didn't know what to make of them. And it wasn't until I realized that there's a number of people who can connect to the emotions that this evokes. There's a number of people who can even connect to to the situations or the experiences that I've had and how I've overcome them. And so it's important for them to hear this story and understanding that my story was far bigger than just me. And it was selfish of me to withhold that information when I was being pushed to share that. And so I've had people as close to me, loved ones, people that I am related to by blood, who shared that they had similar experiences and didn't feel strong enough to share that with people. And so I was proud that I could help them in that sense. And we could both grow and heal through that together. And so, yeah, the power of testimony. I mean, you can't have a testimony without a test. You can't have a message without a mess. And so making sense of all that is extremely important. And I can't urge those who it may be put on your mind and on your heart, you may be being pushed by God to share. There is great power in that, great power in your story.
I know Ruth shared that when God gives you the gift of authorship, He will help you complete your books and finish your mission.
That is outstanding. One of my best friends actually put it this way, and she is going to kill me because I may misquote her. But sometimes we just don't feel ordained to do certain things. We often feel like we don't have the resume or we don't have the title. And oftentimes God will put us in a position, not because we need the title or the credibility. He will equip us while we're there. And so it's stepping into that light, whether it's on faith or in just truly believing that we are there for a reason. And He will support us in every single way we need to be supported. So step into that, bask in that, stand greatly in that position with that great responsibility.
But throughout your testimony with us today, in your presentation, you talked about how you saw it such in a different way at the beginning of your journey, that you saw people on this mountain like they were so far removed and so far above you. And then you captured your voice, your distinct voice. How did that really transform you and your trajectory going forward when you embraced that voice?
Yeah, for me personally, I was comparing myself, and we know that comparison is a thief of all joy, right? And I was just thinking, this doesn't sound as good. It just doesn't click. It doesn't sound like it's supposed to. And again, I called myself an avid reader. And so I was constantly comparing myself to other people. And the best advice I got, Jen, was to stop reading. Stop reading other people's stuff and write this book and give it all of your energy and stop comparing yourself to others. And so, yeah, I had to stop comparing myself to other authors and feeling like I was supposed to be perfect. Like I thought I was supposed to be in a certain place in order to start my book, and I couldn't have been any further from the truth. I needed to start my book. And I'll tell you what, once I prayed about this every single day before I picked up my pen, I asked for less of me and more of Him. Before I put my pen to paper, I just asked that He use me in whatever way He needed me to be used. And I wrote this book very, I'm not going to say effortlessly because a ton of effort went into it, but it all came together. It seemed like it was seamlessly. And
so Luke asked the question, do you think it is easier to hide behind our writing than talking with someone in person?
Luke, yes, I would have to say that I was more brave writing in between these two covers than I was having some conversations with people who have known me longer than I've known myself. It took me writing this book to have some conversations with some people that needed to be had. And I'm not going to say long before, because I think they were had at the right time. We all know God has His way with time. And so I just think that gave me the courage to be able to say some things in my most authentic way, and not sugarcoat it, and just be truly real and speak from my perspective and from my experiences. I will be honest, Luke, I did share, kind of prepare some people for what they were going to read in the book, just letting them know that they learned some new things about me. And by that time, I will say that I had some conversations with people, and I had started that healing process, whether it was with my therapist. So I was a really good place to share because I was able to make sense of a lot of those things. But in the same sense as a therapist, I think this book was very therapeutic for me as well in that healing process. So that probably answered your question and a little bit more.
So Tish said, pray before we write. That's one of our WWJ sayings here, that we always try to put that into practice in all that we do. Pray before speaking, pray before writing. And now you are speaking and moving all out to the world and sharing your story while writing a new one. Talk to us about that balance that you have, and tell us a little bit about these upcoming projects too, if you can.
Yeah. You know what? For where I am in my journey with God, and just growing my relationship, and just going what I like to call hands-free. Like, we've all heard this saying, take the wheel, right?
Yes, Jesus take the wheel. That's my saying too, Marky. I took that one from Carrie Underwood, but yeah, let's go. Take it. Hands free.
Take the wheel, use me as I am. And so I am very much in that place in my journey to where I'm just, one phalange at a time, right? I'm just pulling those fingers off the wheel, and I really just, and things are much greater when we allow him to use him from where we are without question. And so that's pretty much what it is. I've learned that he is not put me in a box to where I'm only going to be doing one thing. He sees value in me for whatever reason. And some of the things that he feels that I could bring. And so he's put me in positions to, yes, speak and share, and also write some books. And so there's another book that I'm working on. I haven't gotten to the title just yet. The title of Champions Creed came last, and it's looking like this is how it's going to happen for the next read as well. But it's another book that truly educates, equips, and inspires from the perspective and experience of a woman who didn't know what to make of herself, coming from those challenges that we often have with our identity and who we are, and not being our circumstances, but being who we were called to be. And so that's where that book is going to be coming from. And my prayer is that it serves. If it's just one person it's supposed to serve, it will serve that one person tremendously.
Wow. Tish, you guys can attest that she is speaking some WWJ language here, and that just shows Holy Spirit connections, that we're all speaking the language that the Lord would be most pleased with, which is if you have been given a story to write, write it, even if it serves one person, because that is that significance that you were talking about. Yes. That significance. So Tish said that's the theme for her cozy mystery that she's writing right now. So you're into the fiction world now, Marky.
There we go. There are no limitations. I love it. I love it. Is this screen gonna annoy people here, or should I?
Oh, say it again. Say it again.
Well, this. Oh, perfect. I wasn't sure if that screen. I just swapped screens. I wasn't sure what I should do. So, is this okay here?
Yes, hopefully you'll be able to see a lot of the comments that are going down. I know Ruth just said, thanks, Marky. I hope your new book goes well. If you could click over in the right, you might be able to see those comments in the StreamYard studio.
Yes.
You can go back and forth.
So much.
So, yes, I know.
Your book and what you're creating.
Yes. Can't wait to read Tish's work. Tish is a haiku poet, but she's also a cozy mystery writer. And book 1 is in the wraps, and now she's working on book 2. So we're all excited in the WWJs to get our hands on Tish's work. And she's also a graphic designer, and she's doing book covers now. Tish is really stepping into the calling that the Lord has placed on her life. She's got a YouTube channel. She's streaming. She's doing it all. I'm just so super proud of Tish Bouvier. Yes, Tish Bouvier. Tish Bouvier, you are lit. So we are calling you out right now. But so is everyone else in the WWJs and all of our attendees today. And I want to say to you, Marky, thank you so much for just sharing your life's work, just your passion for just talking about the Lord. You just glow. when you're able to read your Bible verses and share your testimony and how God has brought you through all of this with prayer, just perseverance and just commitment. And just, you are that walking testimony. And I love you. The minute that I saw you speak, guys, I was at a conference. Oh, Tish said she's blushed and thanks for the love. Marky, you're a blessing for Tish said, Marky, you are a blessing for all of us. Yes, Marky is. And I'm going to tell you, Tish, when I first saw Marky hit the screen, she started to talk, and my Holy Spirit just leapt, said, yes. And I was like, okay, let's see if we can connect with Marky. We got to get her a spot for the WWJ conference, because I just knew, Marky, that the words that the Lord would put on your heart would be exactly what we needed to hear in our space and in our timing. And I knew that I could trust that with 100%.
Well, Jen, you know, I'm going to go ahead and say this. You have encouraged me and inspired me in a way that I don't even know if I can fully express it. Just your kind words, just even over the last few months, your kind words, checking in, your thoughts and insight that has been shared, this platform that you guys have here with the Writing Warriors for Jesus, just everything that you're doing that I'm aware of, even watching you in your light with your students, is truly heartwarming and inspiring. To see you doing that in such a special way. And so I know that does not come. You have many, many irons in the fire, along with being an author and serving others in a very, very great way. You shine so luminously. And so I truly pray that this and the people on this call, and I'll share for me personally. I just want you to know how grateful I am for you and what it is that you're doing. And I'm truly grateful that God allowed us to cross paths here just recently, and stay encouraged and stay lit.
Yes.
My
Tish said the power of connection and the power of authorship, and also surrounding ourselves by brothers and sisters in Christ. We are all working for the body to bring good works to God, to honor and glorify Him in all that we do in our spaces. And I loved how you said in one of your comments, when you did one of your quotes, it was, supporting one another. Mm-hmm. Being able to support. And guys, you heard it. Marky was like, if there's any way that I could serve you, reach out. I mean, Marky, that kind of sharing and uplifting is just a true testimony of that Christian walk and how we should extend, the kindness and the care that has been given to us, and just to throw it out there into the universe and just truly, extend that hand. So we want to thank you, and thank you for your time. Guys, Marky is traveling. She's on the road. She's here and there all the time. She's always doing engagements. You guys have got to follow her out on social media so you can check in. I know that I'm blessed, and I get so every time I see a post, you're just shining bright, Marky. And I just want to say thank you so much for all you've done. And guys, we've got like 5 more minutes, and we are jumping into our reflection session. So join us back at 6 o'clock, where we are going to be reflecting and hanging out with the WWJs on screen to, one, thank our presenters. So we're thanking you right now, Marky, and we want to tell you how much we love you. And we want to just kind of talk about our next steps as authors and how we can take out these 2 days of learning and do like what our friend M. Michelle DeRosier says, and what is our next best step? And so what can we do at our next best steps to be able to go after the calling that the Lord has gifted us with, and has gifted the readers, the audience, to us as well, and has shaped them for us. And I love that also what you said, Marky. I wrote that down because it was such a powerful thing for me. We talk about audience, and we talk about people that are within our influence and within our reach. And you said who God has designed us to be a part of.
Amen.
That they are all a part of our design, and you're a part of our design. And I just want to say thank you. And guys, we're signing off. Marky, we love you. We're keeping in touch.
Thank you so much. Peace be with you guys.